Hi guys, we'll see if we have a broadcast. Today's topic's gonna be last week, things that I was having my attention at. So let's see. Today's topic. Yeah, we have a sound. Uh, so last week, I mean this week, because today is Sunday, is the last day of this current week. So we had many things going on, like G20, Trump, Putin meeting, stuff like that. But all this distraction and all those occasions that we were observing, all those media picture about the protesters, globalists, anti-globalists, and stuff like that. This is just distraction from the real research that we should be doing. When I say we, I mean we, the people who are already woke up, and we are the awakened people. So we have to spend our time not watching how they play us and how they play their game or whatever they do, at least if they don't mess with us and make it worse. So they can do whatever. And this week Jeranism had a live show about history, and he had with the guest Clint Wayland. So you might as well check this video. It's pretty long and maybe sometimes even boring, because this guy is not definitely a professional like Jaron is, and it's not very nice to hear those long sentences that he produces with his speech. So maybe if you're not interested in history as much as I do, you won't be good in continuing watching this video, but whatever. So this video was about Anatoly Fomenko's research in new chronology. So Jaron might not seen my channel, and I wrote him a comment, so if he could contact me and talk about real history, not the BS history that they were discussing that time. So Anatoly Fomenko, if you don't know, is actually a mathematician, and how he came up with this new chronology is really interesting story, because he was programming things like reference monitor. So this thing is analyzing any keyword reference, or maybe name reference or date reference, and so that's how he came up with the program. And he was calculating the references of whatever words, and so that's how he came up with this continuous misleading history fact checking, because he used to do some research about moon phases and some star pictures that's supposed to be at some place at some time. Sorry, I'm not very good in English, but you must understand that this is really a math thing, not a historical thing. So he's supposed to be based on some historical fact checking to prove his theory is in reference program is very good, and this algorithm really works. So he fact checked to the history, and he understood that history is nothing but a BS, and he couldn't fact check anything, because when he calculates the moon phase is different from what the historical facts tell at that day or at that time, whatever. So no base in history found in his program. But that doesn't mean that his new chronology is really right, because he's based still on those edited, re-edited books, because he's supposed to refer to something to prove his new chronology thing, but you can't refer to anything because everything is edited from day one to day, you know, first day of 20th century. Everything is edited pretty much. In 20th century, everything is edited till like 60s. So only guys who were born in 50s and 60s are the new guys who can tell what was really going on after the World War II. And now they are fighting those generations because they want it to over really soon, because they want the Generation X to really be the last one to remember what the hell was going on. So the 60s generation, 70s generation, I'm next one because I'm a 70s generation. I'm 79, 1979. So whatever. And I'm telling you guys that those mud flood things are real, and we can see it everywhere. In fact, one of our allies in Russia, Galina Konisheva, posted a video about this mud flood thing in Moscow. I was checking the buildings that were older than 19th century, actually. The streets that were built in 17th and 18th century, and they all have what we call as the first and second floor flooded thing, and they look like basements right now. So you might as well check my videos to understand what I'm talking about. And some of them are really excavated, and but this guy, this new ally of ours, Moscow guy, he also started his research, and he fact-checked all those documents in late 50s and 40s of 20th century. So there's plenty of information here, and he just, you know, researches that whatever buildings we have, like this new building, this might look a new building right now, but really it has a basement underneath, and this basement was actually the first or second floor of some buildings that were rebuilt and renewed and looking like brand new right now. And that's how he came up with the thing that all those so-called Stalin houses, let me show you how they look so you can understand. So some of them are really nice. You can, you know, but also we have plenty of houses with no fancy rooftops like this and no fancy spikes and stuff like that, but they look maybe like this one. So if you just imagine there is no spike or no towers like this, just looking like this. So we have a bunch of houses, not like this pyramid type of thing, but just imagine this is a central area, is just the house. We have a bunch of these houses, and they have many things like let me show you how they look like. Like this. So these are urns for like dead people, you know. So those houses, let me show you. Those houses have those urns all around those places, so near the roof and stuff like that. And I saw many buildings, and I'm gonna picture some for you and show it to you. So we have a bunch of this decoration with urns everywhere, and so does Europe, I guess, because I saw many of those in Prague. and maybe I'll find those pictures where I saw that. So this is pretty interesting topic to talk about, not this new chronology thing that we can't even touch and smell because it's so old, and it's based on those books that were edited and re-edited and maybe even made up in 19th century. So even the Bible could be made up because we don't know, because we have these last editions of Bible only were edited in the late 19th century. You can see that if you research that thing. And many books were just thrown away and called Apocryphas, which is literally means that you cannot read them or study them. They're like prohibited books and stuff like that. So how can we be based on those biblical facts which are not proven? And the chronology is definitely messed up, which is proven by Fomenko, but we also cannot trust anything that is based on that information. We can, only study what we see, and that is the only way to uh, be referring to some facts that are based in the books, like those illustrations that we can see. This is definitely some proof of how things looked that time, so we can compare how it looks like right now and compare how it looked that time. That's the only analysis that we can do and really be based in our research. And also new stuff that's coming up, because when we see something this way, maybe sometimes past, and we get the new information, we get the new research, and we can look at it another way and see something else, not just something obvious that we see every day. Okay, so this guy is definitely on the way, and I'll probably make a video and show you those houses that he's talking about, because all those documents are really, well, those houses look like this way. So what he's saying is just ordinary houses everywhere in Moscow could be just the rebuilt houses of pre-flood civilization, and just used for fast and maybe even really fast hurry uh, migration of new people to those flooded cities to keep up the GDPs and keep up the profit engagement, and get rid of those who cost much more than those new ones that are just used like slaves and stuff like that for first like 10 to 20 years. They just excavate things and work for food, no paychecks like we have right now. So this is just really the topic of research, which is continuous switch of the generations, and cleanup of all those people who are really expensive to the owners of the projects that we know right now. So those players were mentioned in the videos that are called Mudflood Puzzle Series, so you can watch them and understand how those players think. Maybe that's not very deep and insight for you to understand, but really it's the way to start thinking about it. So the owners can do whatever, and this is really obvious topic to talk. And if they want to rebuild the old house and make the new construction more stable, they base it on the old foundation, old building, and that's how they can uh, make the project more cheaper and basically faster inhabiting the abandoned cities that could be used in further profit engagement. So, well, whatever, we can see if we have any questions. Dig your perspective, Philip. Do you think the mud flood was a rapid event or slow enough for people to escape? No way, no one could escape. No way, because uh, the people who escaped, they already escaped. Understand what I'm saying? They know the information, they leave the place. That's it. Because if those drop zones of mud, uh, which is probably the special operation type of thing. So you like drop the mud to some place, maybe high on a hill, then you weather program the rainfall, heavy rainfall, so that mud can be, you know, flooded to the city and completely cover all these areas, valley areas, because most of those towns and cities were in the valleys, and you know that. Look around the map, and you can see that most of the cities and the towns in the valleys. So those cities that are in the mountains are also in a very dangerous position, because they can be washed away anytime. So the placement near the river is some type of technology to get rid of the city when you need it. Think about dams, ancient dams that could be just, blown away at the time. We are not talking about the war that could be occurring, and the theory that we have about the war, that some type of huge, uh, maybe even nuclear bombardment, carpet bombardment, engaged the huge fires that burned all those forests that we really observe, that no forests are older than 150 years in Russia, and probably in most of these parts of this world that we know. Not many old trees really conserved. So what we mainly see are just the deserts, and all those valleys devastated, and they have like new trees there. And most of these Siberian taiga forests is in the north. It's made up of this frozen mud. And if you watched my video about mammoth bones, ivory, and stuff like that, you can see how deep and how thick is this ice mud compound in Siberia. So probably it was immediate vaporization of all those forests, immediate, like 1 or 2 days, and they were done. All those forests that were burned, and all this vapor that's coming out of wet living trees, when they die and burn, all this vaporization goes into the system that we have, air system, and just a heavy raining is produced like that. So, and if we have this flood of mud in the way to catch and capture all those cities, it could be easily done if we combine this carpet bombing of forests and stuff like that. So this is a special operation to get rid of this population, just like that. You burn the rural areas and you flood the cities, easily targeting, creating those traps for people, and gathering those people in small areas like cities is just a way to control the population. At some certain point, capture and destroy all those people. Okay. So probably next week I'm gonna walk around and find some houses with those urns, and probably those houses are really some houses that were burned were based and on those old pre-flood houses. We're gonna find some first floors that are in the ground right now, buried in the ground. So maybe it would be interesting. So okay, and what else I was wanted to show you is the video that came up today about this video was made in 2008, so it's like 10 years from now, and was shown in Russian TV, Russian analog of TNT. If you have it in USA, you can understand that TNT is some type of entertainment channel, some like that. So nothing is really serious, but they had this documentary called Superhuman, Superhuman, and this one particular story about the man who was actually in the experiment of brain signal capturing. So they gathered all those smart people, as they think, and plug them to those devices to calculate the brain waves and stuff like that. So this guy is famous for his skills in telekinesis, like he can dissolve the cloud in the sky, and he can move those like small objects and stuff like that. So that's why he was the one of those experiment guys. So this, he tells a story that he was like driving a car, and then he was thrown out of this car. So he was like in a car crash, and he found himself near the front bumper. And when a couple of years maybe passed, so he was like with his friends and drinking and having fun, and so he was like staring at the tennis ping pong ball on the water, and he started to move it with his mind. So this is pretty interesting. When he was moving his ping pong ball in this jar with his waves of his brain, he was like thinking about it, but he wasn't ready to talk about it at that time. So maybe like a couple of years passed, and so even his wife figured that out. So he was like really engaged in this topic of telekinesis, and so they even took him on this experiment because he was pretty famous. And the experiment was putting this ping pong ball in this glass jar, and so he was like trying to move it, and they calculated and scanned his brain, what parts of the brain were engaged in this process and stuff like that. So they even covered this jar with this glass, so no wind or stuff like that can move it. And so he did really move the ball. I don't think this is really can't be made up, so it could be made up, but at that time, this is 2008, probably it was not that really important to make something like this up. So they even continued on another type of experiment, and he was like sitting and watching this thing for 17 minutes, nothing happened. And then finally he moved that thing again, this little propeller or whatever you call it started spinning. And also this was really intrigued, because this thing is really can't be moved by anything. It's like standing on a steel needle. And so whatever, And to think about it is why I'm telling you this story right now, because I was like having making one video about super skills and stuff like that. So I'm really interested in that, because I by myself seen a person who had some skills like this. And it's really interesting, because when you know somebody like that, you already believe that maybe someone else could be that type of superhuman person. And when you hear the story about that, you really is you're really interested in that. So even his wife really divorced him. And when he was like arguing with his wife, like, screaming at each other, and they were pretty mad and stuff, pissed off and stuff like that. So even some books were uh, flying out of those whatever shelves, bookshelves and stuff like that. So, and his wife almost got killed by the lamp that was shaking. So I was thinking about that movie that was social media advertised a couple of years ago, when they made up the experiment, like some girl was arguing with somebody in some coffee or restaurant, and she was like a made up person. So she was screaming and yelling at somebody, and all those bookshelves start shaking, and even a person was dragged to the wall by some device that nobody could see. And that was really interesting. So I think the superhuman skills really do exist, but we are right now in this influence of electromagnetic waves that we are all surrounded by. So this is the only way they can control us, and at least get rid of those 95% of chances to change things, seriously change things, and leave them out of job. But electricity is probably the case, because this is the only way to produce that wavelength and resonance, so we can understand what is really going on. Okay, so probably we'll see if we have any questions. No questions. So thank you guys. I know it's pretty early to start such broadcasts, because it's just early in the morning, but I really don't have much time. I have a couple of videos coming up. They are already in edition, and I had my checks on them. So probably next week we have some videos, new videos. At least one of them is ready and is ready to render. So thanks a lot for watching my channel and spreading this information to your friends and stuff like that. So I'll be glad some new people understand what really is going on. And if you know Jeranism, tell him to contact me via Facebook or whatever, or maybe he can write me to my channel. I know, but it's really useless to write him, because he has many comments and response to his messages. So it's really a hard way to contact him. Better see if he can do it and contact me by himself. So thanks a lot. See you later. Bye.